I'm Jason UFC, and today we have a story about UFC welterweight slash middleweight fighter Khamzat Chimaev says four UFC opponents have turned him down. Quote, nobody wants to fight me, unquote. Wow. Khamzat Chimaev is ready, but he can't seem to get a fight. Chimaev most recently said in was seen in action when he quickly submitted Kevin Holland at a catchweight fight at UFC 279 in September. He was scheduled to fight Nate Diaz, but he missed weight by like 8 pounds, 9 pounds, the welterweight limit. So he ended up fighting Kevin Holland at a catchweight fight. He has since set out plans to fight middleweight champion Alex Pereira in January. Then Kobe Covington, which the UFC was pushing that Kobe Covington versus Chimaev, but no matchup has materialized as of yet. According to Chimaev, who's 12-0 in MMA, 6-0 in the UFC, he was offered numerous opponents, but none of them accepted to fight him. Wow. Numerous opponents. How about that? Nobody wants to fight, Chimaev said in his most recent vlog. F these boys. They gave me 4 different countries, 4 different opponents, but nobody wants to fight. Chimaev is targeting a March return in Las Vegas, although he missed the welterweight mark by 7.5 pounds in his originally scheduled main event, pay-per-view main event fight against Nate Diaz at UFC 279, which is why he ended up fighting Kevin Holland at catchweight. Chimaev is open to both a welterweight or middleweight return. It doesn't matter 170 or 185 pounds. I just need some opponent, Chimaev said. I'm tired. I tried to do it. The trash talking going on Twitter, this is not my game. I'm next for the title. So who are these guys going to fight? Let me see anything else. Alex Pereira, he has a 7-1 record. He lost. I never lost in my life. And he lost against a bad guy. The guy isn't even in the UFC as well. UFC doesn't want it. He's saying the UFC doesn't want, I guess, him versus Alex Pereira. The guy don't want it. He's saying Alex Pereira doesn't want it. What am I to do? I just want to fight. Give me somebody. If these guys run away from me, just give me somebody. I'm ready. Wow. Okay, so yeah, we got kind of a lot going on in that interview. Once again, Chimaev is calling out Alex Pereira for a fight. You know, the backstory with that is that Alex Pereira defeated Israel Adesanya at 185 pounds to become the undisputed middleweight champion, and that happened in November. It was a 5-round fight. Alex Pereira stopped Israel Adesanya in the 5th round. But, you know, the thing is with Alex Pereira, he's a big boy. And, you know, I don't know if this is true, but when he comes into fight night, he has to cut down, you know, before the fight, he has to cut down to make weight at 185 pounds. But fight night, he's at like 210. I heard somewhere, someone said that he's like even almost as high as 220, right? So his thing was what Alex Pereira was saying is that, listen, I will fight Chimaev in January. I will fight him. That's no problem. But I can only make like 205 pounds. As I said, he fights at 210, 220, and middleweight on fight night. But Chimaev is like, well, it doesn't really make sense. I'm not a light heavyweight. You know, I'm a welterweight and a middleweight. And why would I fight the middleweight champion at light heavyweight? You know, there's not really much for me to gain from that. But Pereira is saying, like, listen, I can't make weight, you know, 2 months after, you know, and you know, after a 5-round fight against Israel Adesanya and make weight 2 months later to fight Chimaev in Brazil. So I respect that Pereira is saying, like, if you want to fight, we could fight, right? We could just have to fight at 205 pounds. And I also respect that Chimaev is saying, I respect that Chimaev is saying no to a light heavyweight fight because it's a division that he really doesn't compete in. You know, it's 2 divisions above the welterweight limit. You know, I don't think Chimaev walks around even 205 pounds. Maybe he hits about like 205, 210 out of shape and stuff like that. But, you know, I don't think Chimaev is that big of a boy where he's walking around like that. So I can understand why Chimaev is saying like, no, I'm not gonna accept the fight versus Alex Pereira at light heavyweight, 205 pounds. You know, because if I defeat him, in many ways is kind of nothing to gain. Which I don't. That's the thing I kind of disagree with. If you know, a fight is a fight, right? You know, people don't really care about the belts as much as everybody else does and stuff like that. It's easier to sell it for a promotion than it is for two fighters. So in many ways, I would say like if you really, 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 really wanted to fight, Chimaev should have taken a fight versus Alex Pereira at 205 pounds, right? I don't think that would have been the worst idea in the world, right? But the other thing is UFC is kind of pushing Colby Covington versus Chimaev at 170 pounds, but we haven't really heard anything from Colby Covington this year, right? And he's probably done some interviews. I haven't seen everything he does, but I haven't really heard, if it was really, really gonna happen, Colby Covington would go into promo mode and selling a fight mode and really digging into Chimaev, but we haven't heard any response from Colby Covington about this Chimaev fight at welterweight. But my problem with that is that, Chimaev missed weight in his last fight, right? In his last fight, he was scheduled for a main event fight versus Nate Diaz, right? Like, that's a big pay-per-view. That's a very, 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 very big pay-per-view, and that was the main event. And if he fights Colby Covington, it won't be in a main event, right? It will still be on a pay-per-view, but it won't be a main event. So, who's to say that he won't miss weight again? So I like the idea of Chimaev going up to middleweight. Now, there's three names. Obviously, Pereira first. I actually want to see Chimaev versus Pereira. But now there's two names, right? So you have Robert Whittaker, who is looking for a fight in February in Australia because his fight with Robert Whittaker's fight with Paulo Costa is not going to happen any longer, and there's so much to go on with that. That's a whole nother video there. So Chimaev can, if he wants to fight at 185 pounds, he could fight someone like Robert Whittaker, right? That's a name, I'm pretty sure, all over Twitter. People are like, well, if you really want to fight, that would be a great fight between those two. But they seem like friends, so I don't really know what's happening there. And then there's also Dricus Du Plessis. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm just calling him Dracus for the rest of this video. But Dracus Du Plessis just defeated Chimaev's boy. Like, I don't know if they're specifically training partners. I don't even know if I've ever seen them train together like that. But his boy Darren Till, Dracus defeated Darren Till by I think it was a third round rear naked choke. And he's been talking a little bit crazy and spicy about Chimaev and wanting a fight with Chimaev. Dracus Du Plessis is a top 10 ranked middleweight, so maybe Chimaev and Dracus Du Plessis. I just don't know if Dracus Du Plessis is going to come back in March of next year. He just defeated Darren Till like a few weeks ago, and that was in the third round. But yeah, those are the three names I could give you for the middleweight. And then if you just want to throw three names out there for the welterweight division, three top names, I mean, you would go maybe like RDA, maybe even four names. I would say RDA. I don't even know if he's ranked in the top 10, but RDA would be a good fight. Yeah, that would be a good fight. Chimaev and RDA. Wonderboy Thompson, that could be a good fight. Thompson, I believe, is ranked top 10. He's coming off a victory over Kevin Holland, right? His last fight was actually over Kevin Holland also. Wonderboy Thompson and Colby Covington, and then Bilal Muhammad. I'm pretty sure Bilal Muhammad wouldn't turn down the fight versus Chimaev. So it seems like there's some names out there. Like, I just threw out, how many names did I just throw out? Like 6? I just threw out 6 names of fighters that I, pretty sure one of them would take the fight versus Chimaev, right? I know from at least from all of them, Bilal, I'm pretty sure Bilal would take the fight, and Dracus Du Plessis. Like, I'm pretty sure Dracus Du Plessis would take the fight versus Chimaev. So I don't know who are these 4 names, who are these 4 countries, and who are these 4 opponents that all turn Chimaev down. But I just threw out like 6 names that I'm pretty sure, one of them would take the fight versus Khamzat Chimaev. But let me know your opinion of this story. Who do you want to see Khamzat Chimaev fight next? Do you want to see him fight in the welterweight division? Do you want to see him fight in the middleweight division? And throw some names out there, right? Don't just say I want to see him fight in the middleweight division versus who. There's a lot of names out there. The great thing about both of those divisions is that both of those divisions, their last fights, the champions have been uncrowned. Kamal Usman was a long-term welterweight champion, and Israel Adesanya, long-term middleweight champion. Both of them have lost the belt, so the whole division is wide open. A lot of opponents for everybody. So there's not a lack of name for opponents in the UFC middleweight or the welterweight division. But I'm Jason, UFC, and today we had a story about Khamzat Chimaev says 4 UFC opponents has turned him down. Quote, nobody wants to fight me, unquote. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.